Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and it would appear that one more time the Police 1013 video will be delayed by another day, actually probably two, because tomorrow night I have the Battletech livestream. Last night, myself and several other YouTube channels released videos discussing and condemning the actions of Take-Two Interactive and 2K revolving around the DMCA strikes against the YouTuber supMatto, along with the sending two private investigators to his house and allegedly getting his Discord server and Discord account shut down. Today, several media sites have released updated information on this matter. Some are claiming it completely vindicates Take-Two Interactive, others are stating that it's merely spinning the story. So let's go through and take a look at the new information. Links, as always, will be in the description down below, and then afterwards I'll give my thoughts on all of this. Now, if you didn't watch last night's video, I'll put a card in the upper right corner of your screen so you can go take a look at that, but here are the 30,000 foot view bullet points of the information that we had as of last night. The supMatto released a video discussing this topic. Contained within that video, we had the following core timeline of events. Gearbox releases a video announcing a new Twitch integration with Borderlands 3. Within that video, Gearbox inadvertently showed the name of one of the Twitch accounts used for testing. This information was released on social media sites like Reddit and others. supMatto and others stumbled upon this information and found the Twitch channel in question. That Twitch channel was also followed by all the other Twitch channels being used by the developers to test the new integration. supMatto and others followed these Twitch accounts so they could receive notifications from Twitch as to when those accounts were live. When those accounts were live, they were running private streams. However, due to how Twitch works, the live thumbnail would update with still images of the current live stream. supMatto and others would then refresh their browsers and collect these images to leak information on Borderlands 3, such as this image that is on your screen now. Now, on July 25th, two private investigators arrived claiming to be sent from Take-Two Interactive and interviewed supMatto for a stated time frame of 30 to 40 minutes. Within his video, supMatto did state that these two PIs were trespassing, but he spoke to them willingly. 20 minutes after the private investigators left, supMatto's Discord server was shut down. Then, the following day, supMatto received 7 copyright strikes, 6 of which were later reversed. supMatto speculated that YouTube might have intervened, but per my last video, YouTube typically will not intervene after the fact. And to clarify that point a little further in this video, as it has somehow caused some confusion for some vitriolic people in the comments section and on Twitter, it is all but certain that Take-Two reversed the copyright strikes after a lawyer had reviewed the content and determined them to either be not copyright infringing or to be fair use. supMatto also voluntarily took down his Twitter account, and the stated reason for that was in order to avoid speculation, which of course resulted in the exact opposite. Now, I, more than several other YouTubers, railed against Take-Two quite strongly over this, and in that my objectivity was not in proper place, I'll freely admit. And now let's take a look at the new information today. There were two different articles, both making similar claims and seeming to be carbon copies of each other from The Verge and IGN. As they're essentially carbon copies of each other and contain the exact same information, we'll just be looking at the IGN article in this video. Now, in the article, we gain the following information as stated by Take-Two Interactive and 2K is as follows. The 2K and Take-Two Interactive state that they were engaged in a 10-month-long investigation into prominent leaks surrounding Borderlands 3 coming from, namely, supMatto. 2K states that supMatto's leaks go well beyond the Twitch extension to 2018, including details on characters and game mechanics before Borderlands 3's official reveal. In that IGN article, they state that the streams were set to private, which they were, and they claim that supMatto had stated that they were public. This is an incorrect interpretation that we'll get into once I finish running through the basic info. IGN further states, quote, "We were told that it was an exploit in Twitch's security that allowed supMatto's community to data mine their way into getting access to thumbnail previews on what were private test streams." Now, in that article, a 2K representative said, the information he's sharing about the situation is incomplete and in some cases untrue. Not only were many of his actions illegal, but they were negatively impacting the experience of other content creators and our fans in anticipation for the game. Since the July 25th encounter with the private investigators, supMatto has reportedly deleted several videos containing leaked information, including several videos posted before the PAX East reveal of Borderlands 3. The IGN article also states that supMatto allowed access to a private Discord channel that contained further leaked information in exchange for the $5 YouTube membership. So that's the basic information as it currently stands, and I'm going to lay my own vitriolic responses aside for a moment and speak as plainly as I can here. Obviously, there was more to the story than we all knew about 24 hours ago, and I'm left with a very clear impression that both sides are likely being a bit disingenuous here. So we have two vectors of potential infringement on the part of supMatto. The first, with the leaked information that allowed him to break the news on character classes and game mechanics before the Borderlands 3 reveal even took place. It is impossible for that sort of information to have been garnered from the Twitch stream thumbnails, so it is almost certainly that leaked information that led Take-Two and 2K to investigate supMatto to begin with. And as we have no information aside from supMatto's leaking that information, subsequently deleting an unspecified quantity of those videos, and Take-Two merely acknowledging that it is a thing that happened, means likely supMatto did do something he probably wasn't supposed to, and it's because of that the private investigators were sent. And likely they were merely asking to clarify some things in regards to the Twitch streams. So let's move on to the Twitch streams and circle back to this. There is an obvious confusion that I've been seeing in regards to the streams being public versus private, so let me try and clarify here. The streams were private, but how Twitch works is that when a stream is live, it will show a thumbnail of the live stream in question publicly no matter what. supMatto collected those thumbnails and used them to garner and leak information. Despite what has been alleged by IGN's article in 2K, there has been absolutely no indication that there was any data mining take place in regards to those streams, and there was certainly no security intrusion. It's the equivalent of Gearbox accidentally advertising the address of where they were filming the next big thing, and supMatto decided to stroll on over there, and there's a gigantic picture window facing the sidewalk, and you can see occasional glimpses of what is being worked on. But actually, that's too much of an inaccurate representation of things in terms of copyright, so let me try that metaphor again. It's like when he looks in, he sees stills of some artwork through the open window and takes pictures of those. Now that, in and of itself, would be an infringement of copyright. Taking a picture of a piece of artwork is an infringement of that artwork's copyright. However, it is more important what he did with that information, and what he did with those pictures was he created commentary and news videos from them, which definitely falls under the realm of fair use. And it's my guess that's why the 6 DMCA takedowns were reversed. 2K attorneys likely reviewed them and determined them to be just that. Some people, as I said, have claimed this exonerates Take-Two Interactive and 2K. No, it does not. I could, of course, throw up an entire list of deplorable actions of Take-Two, 2K, Gearbox, and Randy Pitchford and Rockstar just over the course of the past year, but that would be building a straw man, and I really don't want to do that. Let's just focus on this topic, and if we need to address those others, let's do that some other time. Take-Two Interactive and 2K claim that, in conjunction with Discord and Twitter, if we can believe what was said in the IGN article, we're investigating supMatto for 10 months, and yet they don't plan legal action against him. However, they still sent the Brute Squad to his house. Regardless of everything that was said here, that was a deliberate intimidation tactic, and it appears to have worked. In addition, the only stuff that 2K and Take-Two could conceivably go after supMatto on was the leaked information that was completely separate to the Twitch integration and the subsequent streams. Now, they claim that supMatto lied. Likely his lie was when he claimed the private investigators trespassed onto his property. This implies that they were sneaking about and snooping, peeking in through windows and the like, whereas the far more likely occurrence was they simply walked up the path and knocked on the front door. And instead of telling them to piss off, he chose to engage with them and allow himself to be interviewed. That means that he was allowing their presence, which makes it no longer trespassing. Yeah, he still shouldn't have done that. Now, some people have even asked why 2K and Take-Two Interactive even care so much. Well, it's simple. First, they had to make certain they didn't have any security breaches, and the second, which ties into the first, they're wanting to protect their bottom line. Marketing budgets for AAA games are massive, sometimes meeting or even exceeding the budget for the development of the game itself. These marketing campaigns are geared towards one singular goal, building hype and anticipation in order to sell as many pre-order copies and day one copies as possible. When there are media sites or YouTubers that manage to garner leaked information, they disclose details that likely were part of that marketing campaign, still building hype and anticipation, yes, but typically more short-lived and is something that will dampen or otherwise lessen the impact of the overall marketing strategy. This means the marketing is less effective than it otherwise would have been, which will translate to less mindless hype, which translates to fewer pre-orders and fewer day one sales. Some will also point out his deleting videos and say, aha, he's trying to cover up evidence. Yes and no. Likely, again, despite 2K's claims, he did nothing that was ultimately quote-unquote illegal, but there could still possibly be some videos that may or may not be actual infringement of copyright. You have to remember, commentary in news is not an absolute defense after all. It is a strong defense, but it's not an absolute. And when faced with a goon squad showing up at your doorstep and realizing that you have a $13 billion corporation gunning for your ass, it's understandable that you would want to take steps to make certain they don't completely destroy your livelihood. Because make no mistake, Take-Two Interactive would have no problem tearing his world down around his ears if it protected their bottom line. They wouldn't even think twice about it, and Take-Two, 2K, and Gearbox wouldn't even shed a tear. Likely, they'd forget his existence inside of a week once they were finished. Also, there's likely a strong desire on his part to avoid any legal entanglements. Remember, lawsuits of these kinds can get very drawn out and very expensive really quickly, and when you're faced with a monetary juggernaut, that sort of thing can be extremely intimidating. And yes, having two goons in suits show up on your doorstep definitely helps to reinforce that impression. So is supMatto innocent? Well, that's complicated. In terms of the Twitch stuff, yes, I'll say that in my humble mook with a mic opinion, I don't believe he did anything wrong there. In regards to the stuff before PAX East and information leaked externals to the Twitch streams, I don't have enough to go on. He did say in his video that what he did was kind of shitty, which some people have misinterpreted into an admission of guilt, but I have severe doubts that was in relation to anything involving legality. Does this exonerate Take-Two and 2K? Hell no. They're still using their corporate might to put the proverbial screws to a YouTube content creator who was both a massive fan of their games and was providing news and information to the public. As long as how he had obtained that information violated no laws, then he did nothing wrong in the slightest. In terms of his YouTube videos, Gearbox and 2K made a mistake, and ultimately they're still attempting to make someone else suffer for their own incompetence. Copying Twitch thumbnails is no crime. It's publicly available, even if the stream itself was private. That's how Twitch is designed to function. He didn't intrude on them in any way. I have no sympathy for them here, and I definitely will not take a corporation such as them at their word when they claim what he did was illegal, and I'll say that some of this seems very much to be justification after the fact. And as for those that are arguing from a standpoint that basically equates to won't someone think of the developers, calling out anyone boycotting Borderlands 3 because it could potentially harm the rank-and-file developers who did nothing wrong, I will say this, and I already expressed similar sentiments on Twitter. Corporations have acted over the course of the games industry on a basis of zero or near zero accountability, being beholden only to their bottom line. The reason for that is because many gamers will criticize them for their actions only to turn around and buy the game anyways for whatever reason. For a corporation, this means that there's literally no repercussions, and as a result, we have season passes, pre-order locked content, paid exclusivity, tiered game releases, loot boxes, microtransactions, pay to win, these recent actions of 2K and Take-Two, and many others over the years. It's deplorable, and without affecting their bottom line, nothing will change. Will the boycott of Borderlands 3 work? No, it most certainly won't, but it will move the needle. And when the next deplorable thing happens, it will move the needle a little further and further until we reach a point with Take-Two that has already been reached with Electronic Arts, where they've released failure after failure and will likely be forced to reassess their strategy going forward. See, that's the thing. Games give you a certain sense of immediate gratification that can carry over perceptually into other aspects of gaming. This boycott is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And while yes, some will scoff and others will condemn for daring to harm the rank-and-file developers, ultimately this will be the only true way to effect positive change within the games industry. It's been said so many times and beaten to death, the concept of speaking with your wallets, but that is because there is an absolute truth to it. These corporations only listen to their bottom line. If they're doing something you don't like, make it so they're forced to listen by threatening their bottom line. Because it's not about destruction. It's not about tearing down the corporations and the studios and driving them out of business. That harms everyone. No, it's about forcing positive pro-consumer change. And moving that monetary needle is the only way to go about doing that. Now, I could ramble on with this for another 20 minutes easy, but I think that's where I'll leave off for today. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and I'll see you next time.